obviously not in tune with what's going on in the community. So let's put them in touch with how we in the community feel about the catch and release program and the myriad of efforts that they bend over backwards to make sure that Guam's criminals are not overly inconvenienced during sentencing.
In case of a tie, the crooks win. I hear you, buddy. I'll talk to you. I don't know about writing letters to anybody. I think there needs to be another vehicle. We can elect and unelect governors. We can elect and unelect senators, but we don't elect judges, and maybe that ought to be a look at it.
We can unelect them. There'll be, I think, 3 judges coming up for renewal.
Yeah, that's a useless process. It requires somebody to actively campaign against, and I don't know that anybody around here has got the temerity to do it. So, listen, I'm going to let you run. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
You have a good day. 888-825-5888-TALK. Voice, you'll hear with me for a little bit longer on Fridays. He's going to be one of the headliners on the Ray Gibson 40th anniversary celebration that we're going to be having at AKBMW on Friday morning, and it's Phil Flores. But today we'll get a little bit of Phil on the marijuana certification forms that are going out. See you in front of the Guam Daily Post as well. Good morning, Phil.
Morning, Ray. How you doing?
You know what? I'm not doing so bad here today. I'm just kind of curious about the certification forms and what are. I'm worried that there might be a couple of people that are extending now the scare a little bit further than where it needs to be. So basically, if I'm involved, if this radio station was involved in the manufacture, cultivation, selling of cannabis, I could not put my money in your bank, right?
I don't think you'd be really able to put money in any FDIC-insured bank, and certainly not ours.
Yeah.
And what Bank Guam sent out the other day, like I said, is par for the course, because the federal government is very strict on banks, and not just the FDIC, but the IRS too, because when they look at drugs, they look at money laundering, and that's why they're so tough on it. So unless the feds change the law, and something's going through the House now, I don't know if it gets through the Senate, and the president would sign it.
Mm-hmm.
But unless they change the law, I think everybody's going to stand pat on their present positions.
Now, to what degree? How will the banks gauge involvement? So, like I said, I mean, if for me, if it's obvious I'm growing the stuff, or I've got a storefront that's selling the stuff, okay, I get it. That's first degree stuff. But what if, as an example that has been given to me, a buddy of mine is involved in selling, hydroponics goods and cultivation gizmos, specifically, grow lights, right? That ain't for growing daisies. Those are for growing marijuana. Would that person's business as a retailer that's only selling to somebody that is involved in the marijuana business, does that poison fruit go all the way up to them?
The fruit is totally poison. And as you know, too, most of those grow houses actually are buildings, for instance. You don't go out and grow it in the field.
Yeah.
So you can control the conditions you're in a building. So if I'm the landlord, I have a problem. If I rent you a building and you're growing marijuana in there, then I, as the landlord, probably wouldn't be able to. Especially it would be really interesting if I had a mortgage with one of the banks, and the property that's securing that mortgage is leased out to somebody to grow pot. The bank will probably chase the person away.
Huh. So I mean, so if the bank can make a connection,
the government kind of a wink and a nod. Hey, you can do it, but you have to do 1 through 1,000 things, and if you don't do all those 1,000 things, boom, the hammer comes down. Because I don't know if I mentioned you before, but because we're regulated FDIC out of San Francisco, and when Senator Barnes' medicinal marijuana thing was kicking around several years ago. I talked to San Francisco, phoned up the head office, talked to one of the supervisor agents. I said, are we going to be able to do this? And they said, excuse me, my morning voice. It's going to be very difficult to do. I said, wait a minute, you're in San Francisco. Half of your office smokes pot. And there's kind of a chuckle. But even if you're, wait a minute, I just thought of something. Maybe if an examination team came in and a bunch of them smoked pot, we could throw them out.
It could work. Well, here's another example, and I don't know whether you have any GPA or GWA accounts there, but if I've got a growing facility, I got to sell them electricity, right? Does that mean that all of the accounts associated with GPA would be terminated? Would those be suspended because that's the customer of the agency? GWA is going to sell people water that they're going to use to grow marijuana.
I don't think so. We'd be pretty capable of explaining to the FDIC and the IRS that GPA and GWA in their current forms are not marijuana people. It's not money, laundering money.
I'm sorry. Based on the actions, I don't know. Based on the actions of the CCU, some people say that the only way they could have come to those conclusions were if they were stoned. But having said that, Phil,
I think GPA and GWA are getting beat up a little too much, and they certainly have not lost contact with the voters who put them in there and who can take them out, unlike judges who can not be taken out, as you pointed out just a few minutes ago. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the utilities. I mean, especially since my power went out on Saturday night.
Well, yeah, and you could hear the punchlines wrote themselves. And if you went to social media, you would see that there were a lot of people that were so ticked off. The only relief that they had was to be able to make jokes like, "Oh yeah, this is what happens when you rescind the pay raises. All of a sudden, the power becomes kooky and unreliable."
Well, then they weren't around during the 80s and 90s when the power was unreliable. And the other thing I saw the other day, to raise another thing, I think EPA is going to make us certify how much carbon is coming out of our personal generators and our commercial generators. For your office, you have a generator there at the station. Maybe you have one at home. And I saw some of that the other day because I know it was attempted several years ago, and it was stopped because it's so ridiculous. But I think they're coming back with it again.
I was looking at that. Yeah, there's a couple of ads that they've been posting that say, "Okay, we're back on track with this program." And I vaguely recall what it was, and I vaguely recall that it was one of those deals where this is really big because of the number of these large generators that are out there that need to get certified, and the numbers of small generators that were out there from people that didn't know whether they qualified or not.
But I think right now, I mean, very seldom do you have to put your generator on. Maybe last Saturday, but it's not like when people got generators because we went through that period of schedule outages, and also we went through that period of another typhoon tomorrow, and knowing you're going to have it. But we're past that. We're not past Mother Nature. Mother Nature is always the boss. But we're past the rolling outages, and I think we're going to a lot of renewable energy sources pretty soon. But the only time I can think we turn on our generators is to exercise them for 5 minutes every week.
Well, it's 6:56. Let me ask you this question, because you pray at the same altar of commerce as I do. Is it time to rejoin the conversation about, and I brought this up the other day. I said, maybe the answer here is not to bring all the members of the CCU in and browbeat them in an oversight hearing or a round table over at the legislature. Maybe it's time that we eliminate the need for a consolidated commission on utility by privatizing GPA and GWA.
Well, I'm a big proponent of privatization because GTA is the best example we all have. I have no problem with privatization of those most facilities, government facilities. But in the meantime, they are doing a good job. But I mean, power very seldomly goes out. I can't remember last time I didn't have water. And if you go back, okay, date yourselves, but if you go back to 20, 30 years ago, it wasn't that way. I don't like the price increases, but
well, the LEAC's going to stay the same, and the prices, the base rate hasn't changed all that much in a number of years. I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot in the debate to have. But I might rephrase your comments this morning by saying Phil Floor is okay with privatizing GPA and GWA.
That's okay.
That's all right.
A couple things before you at the top of the hour.
Sure.
I saw Rocket Man yesterday.
Good.
If you're an Elton John fan, go see Rocket Man. It was really, really good.
What an exciting time for music, and it seemed like back in those days you could turn the radio on and it was either Elton John or Stevie Wonder on every radio station that there was, and some really, really good music. They tell me one of the problems that you're going to encounter when you go and watch that is everybody will want to sing along to every song that comes up.
I was at an Elton John concert years ago in Oakland, and every song I wanted to jump up out of my seat and move.
Yeah.
But maybe everybody was too stoned. No, people were just sitting there not moving. I'm looking around and said, come on, you guys, let's get into it.
Oh,
And I like Elton John.
You'd have to be in awe. Well, and as far as I'm concerned, the 70s version of Elton John, right up until, I can't remember the name of the album, Too Low for Zero or something like that, that was the best version of Elton John. I mean, it seemed like every year he'd come out with a new album that was better than the one that came before it, including Captain Fantastic, Brown Dirt Cowboy, and the original great double album, which is Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Well, and there's a serious argument that Elton John is actually our generation's Beethoven. I mean, he has composed so many wonderful tunes, movies, and his own records.
Yeah.
It's been phenomenal.
Gotcha. Good point, Mike. Hey, Phil, talk to you pretty soon. Appreciate your time.
Adios.
Adios. Love the input. We'll talk more on Friday at the 40th anniversary program. And who's in now? GPSI came in. We got Nanbo's and AKBMW, and I'm going to forget the whole list. United has given me a couple of airplane tickets to give away. And when you go to Resort World Manila next trip to the Philippines, Resort World is going to have you stay with them because they're such big friends of the program here. They wanted to be a part of the celebration as well. There is floating around on Facebook right now. Go to Facebook. And you ought to see a 40th anniversary kind of ad, basically, that comes up. Like it and share it. That's all you have to do to be registered to win. I don't need any other information. I don't need children's Social Security or any of that stuff. Just like it and share it. We'll get all of those, and we'll do a drawing while we're on the air on Friday and give away airplane rides and plenty more. And if you are a business that would like to be part of this and maybe have me showcase one of your products to give away to the listeners, my email address, Ray Gibson Show at gmail.com on the World Wide Web. We're KUSG. Got you. Stand by now for Fox News Live. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with a look at all the big stories that we're going to be talking about today, right here on 93.3 The Point.
Trying to sort out why the Virginia Beach shooter did it. I'm Salgi Ingrasso, Fox News. In Virginia Beach, as efforts continue to help survivors and the families of all the victims, police are trying to find what triggered Friday's deadly shooting rampage that left a dozen victims and their assailant dead.
Virginia Beach Police Chief James Cervera says it doesn't appear the gunman who died after a shootout with police was disgruntled about his job.
He was not terminated, and he was not in the process of being terminated.
The shooter, Dwayne Craddock, turned in his resignation the morning of the murders. City Manager Dave Hansen says as the police investigation continues, the city will embrace victims' families and survivors.
We are making sure that they know they are not alone, and that is our critical function.
Offices at the city's municipal center will be closed Monday as Virginia Beach mourns. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
5 people were hurt and boat traffic was frozen in a busy canal in Venice, Italy, when an out-of-control cruise ship collided with a riverboat and a dock. The MSC Opera's pilot told emergency officials that the cruise ship experienced a loss of controls and activated all the procedures to avoid that crash. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the U.S. is ready to talk to Iran with no preconditions, but Pompeo adds that the U.S. continues to keep an eye on Iran's nuclear ambitions.
If there's work taking place that presents risks to the world, that Iran will begin to move forward on its program to develop its nuclear capabilities, which threaten the entire world, in which every country, every European country agrees presents real risk.
Pompeo has been holding talks with his Swiss counterpart, Foreign Minister Ignacio Cassis. The estranged husband of the missing Connecticut mother of 5, Jennifer Dulos, has been arrested along with his girlfriend on charges of evidence tampering and hindering prosecution. This is Fox News.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
We have some really great home loan programs, but did you know we have great business loans too? Every day we're working with companies to purchase equipment, to buy or build properties, or make tenant improvements. We offer letters of credit, working capital, and term loans, and we make all of our credit decisions here. Commercial loans, commercial banking from Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific. Opinion.
China says it won't back down and blames the United States for the current trade dispute, but there may be some rays of hope.
The Chinese government issued a report blaming the U.S. for the breakdown in talks, but a Chinese official also suggested the negotiations remain a priority. On Sunday Morning Futures, Vice President Mike Pence laid out some of the steps China needs to take to reach a deal.
It is those structural issues, intellectual property rights, forced technology transfers, essentially the respect for private property that at this point China has not reflected in their practices, and we need to see reforms in that regard.
Tonight, President Trump takes off for his trip across the pond, starting with a visit to Buckingham Palace tomorrow morning, where he and the First Lady will meet with the Queen and Prince Charles.
That's Fox's Garrett Tenney. President Trump will join other world leaders for a commemoration of D-Day later this week, and about 300 veterans of the Normandy invasion have left Dover, England, for a 6-day trip that will take them back to the landing beaches on that 75th anniversary of D-Day. A civil rights icon who fought segregation through her restaurant business is dead.
Leah Chase was never shy about challenging the status quo in the South. The legendary New Orleans chef was the first in the city to open a white tablecloth restaurant for black people called Dookie Chase's. She fed activists from Martin Luther King Jr. to Thurgood Marshall at the height of the civil rights movement, even sending food to jailed activists. Chase was always seen at her restaurant right until the very end, using a walker to make her way around the establishment, talking to patrons. Chase was 96 years old. Ken Duffy, Fox News.
Number one at the weekend box office, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, coming in with an estimated $49 million in ticket sales, a little less than expected. Last week's top film, Aladdin, slipped to second. Rocket Man was third with $25 million in sales. I'm Sal Gianbrasso, and this is Fox News.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant. Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC. We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The Consolidated Commission on Utilities adopted a policy on performance evaluations for power and water executives in March of last year, but the commissioners have not been following their own policy. The policy calls for the CCU to conduct performance evaluations on the Guam Power Authority and Guam Waterworks Authority general managers, chief financial officers, and general counsel at least once a year. All commissioners are to take part in the evaluation, and the CCU may adopt any format to document the evaluation, but The evaluations have never been done annually. CCU Chairman Joey Duenas acknowledging that the evaluations have not been done consistently. He said we need to do better at that. The commission has not been following its own policy on documentation either. Duenas said it's one of those administrative things we say we want to do, but most of the time we're so busy doing so many other things that we just don't get around to it. The Bank of Guam has begun circulating a marijuana certification form requiring all current and new customers to declare that they are not directly engaged in a marijuana-related business which in any manner is involved with the handling of marijuana or marijuana-related products. Customers are required to inform the bank if they do become associated with a marijuana-related business, and the bank reserves its right to immediately terminate any or all accounts with any customer who becomes involved with the cannabis industry. Bank of Guam Senior Vice President and Communications Officer Jackie Murati was not available for comment on Friday, but when shown a copy of the form, Bank Pacific President Phil Flores said Bank Pacific will soon be issuing a similar form, and he expects all other island banks will as well if they haven't already. Plain and simple, said Flores, Bank Pacific will not have any banking association with any person or business involved in the marijuana business until or unless the federal law is changed. Senator Clint Rogel, the author of the Cannabis Industry Act of 2019, said it's an issue for the banking system nationwide, and there is now a bill in Congress to address that problem. The Safe Banking Act would allow a bank to accept funds generated by the marijuana industry. It was recently approved by the House Financial Services Committee. We'll have more news after this.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. A bill that would correct the World War II Loyalty Recognition Act and allow for the release of reparation awards to Guam's Manamco has taken a step forward in the U.S. House of Representatives. Guam Delegate Michael San Nicolas announcing that H.R. 1365 has been scheduled for a markup hearing in the Natural Resources Committee. The hearing is set for June 19th. The markup hearing is a full committee hearing during which the merits of the legislation are discussed, amendments can be offered, and a vote is taken on whether to report the bill out to the floor for a vote by the full House. In a statement yesterday announcing the markup hearing, Congressman San Nicolas said, "We are moving the war claims legislation forward as quickly as we can using all available networks because we fully understand the urgency in our community to address this issue." No checks have been issued because former Guam delegate Madeline Bodallo neglected to include a provision to authorize the U.S. Treasury Department to make the payments in the bill she originally introduced. H.R. 1365 corrects that deficiency and allows the Treasury Department to issue checks to the survivors who have already won compensation awards. Vince Napati has been named chief of the Airport Police Department, effective June 10th. He fills the vacancy left by former Chief Robert Camacho, who retired earlier this year. Napati has been serving as a marshal at the Superior Court of Guam. He began his career in 1991 as an airport police officer. Napati told the Guam Daily Post that his list of priorities includes ensuring his officers meet all requirements put in place by the Police Officer Standards and Training Commission. He is a certified law enforcement instructor who has trained officers from throughout the local law enforcement community. Napati said he would not be making any drastic changes and intends to listen first. He'll look at modernizing operations, and he hopes to inspire others around a united vision, he said. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at the weather.
Will do. Partly cloudy skies today, Kevin. We've got isolated showers in the forecast as well. Winds east up to about 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs 89 degrees when the sun is at the peak. Overnight lows about 79 degrees, so it'll feel like the sun's still out. Sunset right up at 6:45 this morning, and the sun rises tomorrow morning at 5:52. For those of you hitting the road right now, wondering what traffic is going to be like in the next little bit, we'll take a look at the weather radar, and here is Duke Sky Talker with his interpretation of the cloudy dance.
Yeah, it's got some clouds down to the south. It's a bit of a trough that's kind of indicative of where the ITCZ's initial little start is for the northernmost extreme there. Now, just to our south, and the Weather Service actually says this is going to be what starts to set up as we go through the week, as we transition from the dry spring type weather that we have to a more seasonable summer and a little more moist situation. Most of these showers are going to stay south, and they will kind of peter out as the day comes along and the sun comes up, but more could generate later on as we get on through the afternoon. Checking satellite, we don't see anything of any significance out there as far as large-scale weather systems. Starting to see a little spin up off to the west, but that's looking to me like an upper-level low. I'll check on that here in just a little bit. One thing that tells me that is because the clouds that are just south of Guam are actually moving from the southwest to the northeast.
Going the wrong way.
Yeah, so that's definitely in the upper levels, and it could be this upper-level low to our west that's causing that to happen. So really nothing really much for us, just an occasional shower. Hopefully the clouds will come on over, get some of those high clouds. It'll keep it a little cooler so we can keep the heat index down just a bit.
That's it?
That's just about it, man.
You done?
I think so.
Okay. Snooze and weather together here on The Point.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
That puts the vroom vroom in your phone. You want some vroom vroom in the car? Check out Performance Days going on at Cars Plus. Last hour I told you about the Charger SXT Plus. Love this ride. And I'm trying to remember which one it was that we were riding around with when I was a little kid, because it seems to me that they've got a new version of the Dodge Challenger that is out there. Absolute GT on sale at Cars Plus. Leather, blind spot detection, 8.4-inch touchscreen display. Yeah, it'll talk to your smartphone. Rear view camera with dynamic guidelines and things like that. And the unmistakable muscle of a Challenger. Where do you find that? Cars Plus. Portions of the program also brought to you by King's Restaurant, where they've got that crazy 19 menu back. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, apps, and desserts. All served all day, every day at King's Restaurant. They're always open and always local. Micronesia Renewable Energy, the first choice for your not your specialty care needs, but you need solar power. I'm sorry, it's Monday, right? Now we were that close to excellence, that close, and I blew it already. What the heck? Anyways, guys over at Micronesia Renewable Energy have now got battery storage for your solar panels. 632-2613 if you want to get a free consultation. And the guys over at APL are busy shipping the future.
Rediscover talk radio here. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yeah, you know what happens every once in a while? I'll be in my head. I'm thinking, okay, this is going pretty good so far. It's going pretty good so far, and then all of a sudden, crash, burn. Yeah, it's a
Get up! It's Jesus Day.
Life of an entertainer. Yeah, I tried getting up yesterday, and did not. Was busy taking care of a couple of other things that I would have normally done. Definitely slept in the morning and waiting for an opportunity. And I'm so glad I didn't do it Saturday night, because I would have been disappointed when the power went out. But looking for an opportunity to catch a couple of hours where I knew I would be otherwise unoccupied to watch Deadwood. the movie on HBO that I told you about. Now, I'm one of those guys. I was crazy about the season, and it's hard to believe in my head that it has been off the air for as long as it has. Deadwood, and you can still watch it on HBO if you have access to the show and the archives. And frankly, I still do. Every once in a while, I'll just kind of restart the season and make my way all the way through. I wasn't nuts about the end. For those of you that are disappointed about the end of Game of Thrones, stand in line. HBO has disappointed us in the past. However, they made good. They absolutely made good on the ending by coming out with a couple hours worth of a Deadwood movie. All of your favorite characters are back, older. Not necessarily wiser, but definitely older. And there's an article in one of the newspapers where they say, you know, came home to roost. And there were nice ends to everybody's story. I won't tell you too much about it if you're a big fan and you want to watch it without any spoilers. Let me just say, number one, I was satisfied, and number two, the end about brought me to tears. Okay, people know me. Know I'm not shy about crying at movies. Bicentennial Man, I can't watch the last 2 minutes of Bicentennial Man. It's Niagara Falls, right? And it was Tarzan Falls yesterday as I was watching the end of Deadwood. Classy job, guys. I hope they do the same thing with Game on Thrones soon. 7:18 in the morning, and I want to say, while I got some time, a couple of folks that have found their way to the online. On Facebook, a couple of people had mentioned they were having a hard time getting me on YouTube Live. I don't know what happened. I was able to get to YouTube, and I can see you, so I presume that you can see me out there as well. Bob Cruz online. Christina L.G. Jones is hanging out with us on the Facebook Live. She's saying hello to Pedro. John Brennan is saying, how's the weather back home on Guam? 82 breeze and trade winds here on Oahu. Dude, I hope you're watching over on the beach. I hope there's a great place for beach volleyball out in Oahu. Go. There are a bunch of guys from Guam hang out there as well, John. So check them out. Vicky Estes is online. Carl Cruz Tobas. Joe Flores is hanging out with us this morning. I know Carl Cruz Tobas is hanging out as well. I thought I saw Joe Leasalongi out there. Might be in the list as well. Jeff Pleadwell, Carl Fukuda, John Wigston, Bob Lizama, Arlene Evangelista is there. Daryl Taggarty's joining up this morning. I'm going to be going. I got a little medical, just a checkup, nothing serious, just a checkup in Manila and a trade show in Singapore, and so I'm going to be gone for 5 working days out in the middle of June, and Daryl Taggarty is going to be taking over the reins of the program, so he's listening in, checking the flow and the ebb of the program to see how he's going to be able to do it. Tommy Bloss is online. Nice to see you there, bud. Nate, yes, the General's son. Nate Horn is there. Charlene Marchessault is online. Sarah Nedadog, good to see that name there. Gwen Timinglu, who's waking up late this morning because she didn't have to go to school, didn't have to get anybody ready for school. That's nice. Cody James, my favorite. What do they call the guy that lands the airplanes? Air traffic controller guy. So Cody James is online with me this morning. Val Cruz, Anita Muffness came and went. Lorraine Chargaloff, Mary Park, Frank St. Nicholas, Alfredo Mendoza, Xavier Actelig, Vicky Schrage is online. James Joyce, nice to see you there, bud. Marvin Ike Iseki, Joe Rosario, Roy Burgess. I got a full house here today. David Evans, big sister, little sister Montesilva is online, as well as Landon Adlet. And I might, Landon, there's a picture of you and your brother and another fella in the old K57 studio. So, Facebook will do that every once in a while. They'll say, hey, here's something from 5 years ago. I might share that up this morning if I get a couple of minutes to press that button. 7:21 in the morning. You want some good news? I'm ready in the here and now to give you some good news. It's not in the markets, because the markets are all ugly. Dow Jones Industrial Average drifts down below 25,000 for the first time in a while. 24,815. They lost 355 points last time anybody looked. NASDAQ at 7,453, off by 151. Off by 114 points. That's 1.51%. The reason why I'm throwing all these numbers together is because despite the fact that the Dow lost 355 points, that only accounts for 1.4%. And the S&P 500 at 2752, definitely red, but only by 36 points, off by 1.32%. It's all relative based on the size of the markets, if you will. FTSE is down, the Nikkei is down, Hang Seng's down, DAX is down. The only thing that's up is what's called the Misery Index, and that's trading at what is it? 8.15%. 5% higher for the misery index. But it's a very, very small index for those of you that track it. Now, I wanted to get to some good news on the market. So let me give it to you like this. We're seeing the movements, big movements, in the appropriate direction for West Texas crude. That's the benchmark from which, over a 10-day average, we will determine what it is that we're buying oil from. Remember, the LEAC's not going down, not going up. Hey, who knows? Maybe if it continues in this trajectory, could go down or help us to pay down the hedge a little bit faster. It was 56 the last time you and I looked at that Friday morning. Today, trading at $53.50. And you're going, yes, that's nice. How about Tapas, Ray? What's Tapas doing? Tapas traded the other day at $72.41. Today, Tapas is trading for the first time in a while under $70 a barrel. $69 and 2 bits for a barrel of Tapas crude. Now, I don't know if that means that the price at the pump is going to be going down anytime soon, but it's possible that the next time the guys at the gas companies buy gasoline, they will be buying it at the lower price and pass those savings on to us.
It usually goes down slower than it goes up.
Yeah, it runs up but crawls down is the way that works out. And that's because, I don't know, it's the same reason why snakes and kitty cats will turn off the lights in big chunks of the island. 7:23 in the morning, and that's what happened on the market. Jerry Roberts in the studio. Good morning, Jerry Roberts.
Good morning, sir.
Did you have a good weekend?
Did.
Were you rested?
Rested.
Did it wake you up when the power went out?
No. What power went
I thought you just asked him if he got arrested.
No, did he get arrested?
Then he responded in the affirmative. I'm like, whoa.
Hey,
Way to go, Jerry.
Hey, don't worry about it. They'll let you right out. It doesn't matter. Murders, selling drugs, whatever. You know what it is?
I just use your name,
beating
right?
somebody with a machete. No, they just do it for everybody. Oh. Can you produce a tier on demand? Can you do one of those things? Your Honor, people are counting on me at home. Your Honor, I want to go to jail because I know I did wrong, Your Honor. But there's people counting on me at home, and if I'm not there, if I'm not there, who knows what's going to happen? The kids that go to school without it, they'll be born naked, and they'll have to wear a hat until they're 17 if I'm not at home to guide them and to love them and to cherish them. Almost. Just try to see. Now you got to watch the last episode of Deadwood.
Nothing there.
You got to watch the last episode of Deadwood. That will help you produce a tier. 7:25, and the not arrested Jerry Roberts is in the studio now this morning for today's Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank, where it's all starts with yes.
Some days I look at the stories that come across the news, and I'll admit it, I'm confused by how many people, including supposedly intelligent people, can get something so very wrong. Today, we talk about minor league baseball and striking out in every way possible on the Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
If you're driving, chances are you'll need gas soon. And by the growl in your tummy, a trip to the grocery store too. But don't just buy gas and groceries without getting double miles. Instead, apply for the new United Credit Card from First Hawaiian Bank and start earning double miles towards your next trip. Gas, groceries, getaway. With the new United Credit Card, apply at FHB.com. First Hawaiian Bank, member FDIC. Equal housing lender. Additional terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Memorial Day 2019, it's a week ago. This was a day to honor those who had paid the ultimate price for the freedom you and I enjoy under the American flag. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, freedom from oppression, freedom of speech. In Fresno, California, the local minor league baseball team, the Grizzlies, ran a video for Memorial Day attendees, a patriotic video that has been used in years past. However, the video had been re-edited. This time, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was sandwiched between dictators Kim Jong-un of North Korea and Cuba's Fidel Castro, while the voice of President Ronald Reagan spoke about the enemies of freedom and potential adversaries. social media exploded. Team President Derek Franks issued an apology, calling it an oversight. There were calls for sponsors to boycott the team, plus somebody to be fired, which is the way all of these things go these days. It's wrong. All of it is wrong. Everybody involved is wrong. Let's start with the employee. Frank said he wouldn't identify the worker who created the video and that there would be no termination. That's wrong. He should have been fired. Maybe it was done as a joke and the worker didn't think it would be used. Maybe it was intentional, that it would play. In any case, the employer was damaged because of his action, and that's the kind of thing that gets you fired. Look, half the country probably would agree that Ocasio-Cortez's ideas are dangerous. Even a big slice of Democrats want to see party leaders calm her down as they view her as a threat to their chances in the 2020 election. Still, on this day, it should have been about baseball and those people we honor on the sacred holiday, not about politics. Sponsors feel the heat in these moments and usually fold quickly. Sun-Maid quit, as did Dos Equis and Tecate Beers. Maybe they'll be back at some point, but likely not soon. Companies are free to spend their money as they wish, and I understand their tough position. But the message sent is a bad one. It says, even though the team was blindsided by the video, we're going to cave to the pressure and punish them anyway. Instead, how about the Grizzlies were taken by surprise by the actions of an employee? They, along with us, don't agree with the negative message. They've been a good corporate citizen, and we support them as they work through this issue. Sure. And the people pushing for the sponsors to pull out and the employee to be fired are also in the wrong. Memorial Day honors those who protected with their life the right of people to say things we don't agree with, even horrible and hateful things. The Constitution guarantees it. I remember a day when we responded to the ideas we found disagreeable, denouncing and exposing them. Now, all we want to do is shout them down, censor what we don't like, and scream for boycotts. Never mind about freedom of speech. Never mind about why we have it. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First to Wine Bank, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Just so much easier in 2019 to hold people in trial at Twitter.
Yeah.
And to do the public shaming on Facebook, and all of a sudden you get CEOs that have their inbox, their WhatsApps are all full of comments and complaints from people, and they feel like they have to do something other than what should have been the correct approach, and say, yeah, it's freedom of speech. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean that we are not going to expose it. There is no freedom from being uncomfortable in 2019, and there shouldn't be.
You know, I could see if Sun-Maid, Dos Equis, and Tecate would have reacted to if the president of the company had come out and said, right, yes, that's our position. We don't like her. We think she's a threat. She's a communist and all the other things. Maybe I'd take a look at that organization at that point and say, maybe I don't want my money to be here if that was the case. But in this situation, they were blindsided by the acts of an employee and had no idea. At least that's what they were saying. They wanted to identify who it is.
Nobody had watched it all the way through, and it got up on the screen.
It got to the third minute. Yeah. They've said they watched the first couple of minutes, which also sounds a little bit weird because this is a video they've used many, many times before. And then in the third minute, that's where these things, when this things happened, and their picture showed up. So, I mean, I understand their pressure. But in this case, they've been working with this team for a long time. You say, look, they got blindsided. Nobody likes what happened. Sorry it happened. But we've been with them a long time. We're going to help them work through this situation. You know,
I want to say that we've touched on this before, and every once in a while we'll run into people here that will find themselves on the wrong side of social media. Do you weather the storm? Do you have to make a statement? Does there have to be some kind of thing? I mean, if I came out and said something that didn't ride 100% parallel with the overwhelming majority's opinion here, would I be subject to having my advertisers start bailing out and boycotting the Ray Gibson Show?
Probably not publicly. I mean, it could happen depending upon the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, you take strong positions on certain things, and let's say you take a position that someone doesn't like. And they might not re-up with you on an advertising contract. But in Guam, I don't think we're as active on these issues as you'll find back in the mainland.
You know,
we're not as offended easily, that I guess is the way you might
Thank
say
God.
it.
But I have not, I recall, I don't think I've ever had anybody boycott me or pull their advertising because of something that I'd said or did. But I have had people be wary of where their spots were placed because they didn't want to necessarily be associated. Oh, you're going to be doing an interview with that guy? You're going to be talking to that guy? Okay, don't play my ads there.
That's fine.
Or gee, you know, I kind of liked it better when you were doing music radio and you weren't touching so many hot topics. So I'm not necessarily going to follow you into talk radio.
Everybody has their own opinions on those things, and they can vote with their dollars, as they wish. I just think it's gone way out of control, the way that people deal with it back in the mainland right now.
Oh, everybody's a bedwetter, as far as I'm concerned.
You're entitled to your opinions, but right now it seems to be that it's done with such precision. Immediately, someone's offended by something, they hit Twitter and Facebook. And then the companies have to respond. And used to be the companies would wait and see kind of which way the wind was blowing. Yep. And now they just jump in and say, no, we're bailing.
It's the immediacy of digital media. I tell you what, again, it's a double-edged sword. 7:33 in the morning. That's Jerry Roberts in today's Extra Point. Kevin Kerrigan now is going to give you some provocative and controversial stories now on the headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Kev?
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, 2 sisters have entered pleas of not guilty to federal drug charges that accuse them of possessing methamphetamine with the intent to distribute. Maria E.L. Untalan and Veronica L. Untalan were named in an indictment that was returned on May 29th and sealed until they were arrested last Friday. The pair are alleged to have conspired with others to distribute 50 grams or more of meth beginning in April of last year. The government has also filed a notice of forfeiture against them, seeking a 2019 Harley-Davidson XL 1200 as well as $1,230 seized from Maria Untalan during a vehicle stop in March and another $3,412 found in her Agana Heights home. Their trial is scheduled to begin August 6. A cat walked into the Guam Power Authority Tumon substation and came into contact with equipment, causing Saturday night's power outage that affected Agana, Mongmong, Totomaiti, Manilao, Barragata, Tamuning, Sinahanya, Dedido, Santa Rita, and Laddie Heights. According to a statement from General Manager John Benavente, the incident occurred about 8:55 p.m. Saturday. Some customers had their power restored after only 20 minutes. However, others experienced a 2-hour outage. Benavente said the cat caused a sequence of events within the power grid. GPA's Mecheche and Talafofo combustion turbine units tripped offline. The Greco unit dropped 2 megs, and the Cabras 2 baseload generator tripped offline as well. GPA's generation teams worked to bring all other standby generators online Saturday night to meet the load demand and stabilize the power system, said Benavente. Department of Revenue and Taxation has authorized the Department of Administration to issue about 1,000 tax refund checks this week, totaling $3.8 million. The checks cover error-free returns filed on or before January 31st. The governor's office says the checks were being processed on Friday. Some might have been mailed out on Friday. Others might not be mailed until today. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I hear it, buddy. 7:35 in the morning, and that's iConnect time. Swing by the nearest iConnect and learn what you need to learn about getting your what you pay for mobile and internet plans back down out of the clouds. No need to spend an arm and a leg on that kind of bandwidth if you're not going to use it. And they know how to calculate that stuff at iConnect.
Experience the Take Care difference. Take Care members can count on accessing a high-quality, credentialed network of on-island providers, including the convenient one-stop FHP Health Center and Urgent Care, access to an extensive off-island network of providers, and the island's largest offering of free fitness classes and health education programs. You can count on Take Care to deliver comprehensive, accredited insurance coverage and quality health care when and where you need it. Take Care. Our island, your health plan. Learn more at takecareasia.com.
Okay, up Upgrade from basic with 3 new sandwiches. Wendy's on the Wendy's Made to Crave menu. The barbecue chicken sandwich, which is barbecue chicken. Put that in between. It's nice and it's tasty here. We have the Sawsum Sauce bacon chicken sandwich that has bacon in it. And finally, a new favorite. It's a BLT chicken sandwich with avocado. Oh. That's the good stuff. You know, and it's avocado season. Ask Ken Leon Guerrero. His trees are dripping with avocado tears. You'll need to find that over at his place. At Wendy's, they got it too. In fact, they got you at Wendy's.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on the Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
My God, I almost wish that I was out there driving with you because it looks, from what I'm seeing, it absolutely looks great. Might see a little bit of traffic north and southbound Marine Corps Drive over in front of the Chicken Joy intersection and over by the McDonald's place over in Harmon. Might be a little bit of traffic there as well. Also moving up towards... Is that up? Towards Route 16 from that particular area. You might see some traffic there at the underpass, but you ought to be able to get that through that fairly quickly. 8, 10, 16 is a dream. 10 and 15 is a dream this morning. 4 and 10, a little bit busy with traffic that's trying to decide whether it's going to 10 or whether we're going all the way down south. $8 breakfast at Pirates Cove. Huh? Can we do that? Route 4 is looking clear into the downtown Agutnia area. Might be a little bit of confusion over by Tatuhan Park. Traffic up and down, and everybody trying to get over by the courthouse is going to make people crazy. Don't see anything in front of the Big Navy Hospital right now, and let me just go down to Big Navy and see if that's going to slow you down. Yep, sure will. Right about just as you get to Sume Pub and Grill in that area, might run into some traffic there. 20 away from 8 o'clock in the morning. That's Monday traffic right now on the Point.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
It's 2-for-1 dinner time over at Ruby Tuesday. This might require somebody to step in and school me on it because I'm not. I'm kind of confused. So start with 2 endless garden bars. Okay, I get that. Then you can choose from 2 entrees and up for grabs here: blackened tilapia, sirloin steak, half rack of ribs, and chicken fresco. So I get one. So if we were going to go, it would be 2-for-1 dinner time, $25.99. So if we were to go, I would get the ribs. Steak guy?
Well, no, not at this point.
Tilapia.
I'd probably maybe the tilapia or the chicken.
Okay,
tilapia is a little softer for me, and I have no teeth.
Yeah. Okay. So, but that would be the way. So that's my entree, your entree. It's not like we're getting a half rack and we have to share that, right?
No. Yeah.
Oh, that's
one per one each.
Then you've got a delicious dessert, key lime cake. I love a good key lime. Cookies and cream, caramel crunch cake, and apple tart skillet. $25.99.
Better.
I know. No. Well, I was flipping it over because I wanted to see if there was a beer. Do we see that? Now that would be perfect. It'd be like 2 for 1. And I saw your post on Facebook, which would mean that I get to drink your beer.
That's right. You get to have my beer.
7:41 in the morning. 888-8255-888-TALK. Beck Salazar is online. So is Chalarna Laurent. Laurent from GRMC. Ron and Cindy De La Rosa. Hey, missed you at the Lesage last night. Spread the word. Pam Duval, who says we should be able to sit in on all of the meetings of the government offices via live stream, James Howard style. Agree. 100%, 1,000%. There ought to be a way with and in fact, I know there is a way. There's the technology. how much of this do I want to put on the air? I got to be careful because some of the things, the ideas that I have right now that I'd like to share with you as I riff through this conversation are actually part. Yeah, I'd like to do that because Pam thinks it's a good idea. But then the other part of it is I'd like to do that because it will make my life easier. It will make my job, the opportunity for me to go more out there than in here that much easier to do. And so I'm pondering and playing around with some technology. I will say this, Pam. What you were talking about, what you'd like to see James Howard be able to do, is doable for less than $1,000. So you show up, seriously, you show up with a box about the size of a Tupperware. Maybe a little bit bigger. PlayStation, about the size, okay, yeah, about the size of a PlayStation. Can we do that? Everybody got that in there, the small one, the new one, right? For something about that size and less, for about the same price as a fully loaded PlayStation. You carry that around with you, and you get one of those little MiFi things from GTA or Docomo or iConnect, and that talks to that. And you go, but I want cameras, Ray. Can I get expensive cameras? No, don't get expensive cameras. Get the cheap stuff. You can even tether the camera on your phone to be able to do this stuff. Point it in the direction of whoever it is that's talking, and then start your stream. And the cool thing is again, you would stream to YouTube, you would stream to Facebook Live, all of these different things. And because it's your stream that you are in control of, dude, we could put this, I could totally rig up a battery system for something like this so that you wouldn't even have to plug in at the conference room. You just turn everything on, light up the internet, and we're streaming. And because it's your stream, you don't have to be like the legislature. You don't have to be like anybody else that streams. You can turn on comments. You can make it so that people are able to say what is on their mind and what they think of you and your cockamamie ideas while you're sitting around at these board meetings. Anyway, just a thought there. Who else is playing around? I got Beck Salazar, Charlie Laurent, Ron and Cindy De La Rosa, Leah Beth Nahalawa is there, Mila Darapiza Tyron. Nice to see you online as well. Ruthie Sakur is playing around. Jess Limtiaco. Asking it, it's an interesting question now that Trump's talking about tariffs in Mexico. How much stuff in Guam stores come from Mexico? Get ready for higher prices. Yuka Hechanova is online. James Howard says, I use my iPhone X with AirPods and some easy software off Apple. There's one way to do that, but I think as we move through Facebook Live, I think people are going to want some interesting things with lower thirds, like we've got little bugs up in the corner that say the point and the thing that tells you what time it is and all of that. Juan Benitez online as well, and on the actual telephone. Welcome back to the Guam Power Authority, Art Perez.
Hey, half a day, Ray.
Where you been?
On leave.
I missed you. Where's the music? Play the music. Thank you. The lights go out. The CCU has meetings. There's pay raises and all of this other stuff. And Patty's good. She did it for a long time. She was your predecessor. And every once in a while, I'll get a leak from inside the department, the agency. But it's nothing like hearing it from my pari, Art Perez's lips. I've missed you.
Thanks, Ray.
Anyway, so like you're like back in the shop, and all of a sudden, you're dropped a little bit of an issue there, aren't you?
Yeah, Saturday we were having dinner at Pro, and then the lights went out, and then my daughter looked at me. She goes, "Dad, is everything okay?" And I was like, "Sure, babe, you'll be on in a couple of minutes." And there you go. And then I got my WhatsApp started going off the phone, and
yeah,
and I was like, "What's going on?" And dispatch lines were busy, so I finally got the update, and that was just right before 9 o'clock when everything came in contact at the Tumon substation.
What a time it was! Now there were two events. It seems to me. One of them was probably likely caused now just as the cat was, I don't know, making a connection with the tail in a paw or something that there should not have been connections made. There you go. That's exactly what it sounded like. So there was what felt like a brownout, like a very, very quick interruption of service. Did you feel that?
Yeah, it sort of like dipped for a bit, trying to isolate, and then that was a fault that was out on the power grid, and that was felt by other power generating units that were online at that time. And then after that, two-month substation is a pretty heavy circuit. You know, you got major transmission lines going in there. You got major load centers. So something of that magnitude will be felt by other units. You have Mechechi, Talofofo, and even units up north and as far away as Jigo felt it, and they isolated to protect themselves. And then when you had a baseload unit trip offline as well, then you have dispatchers and line crews already lightning speed to where they need to go. And the first circuits were restored within about 20 minutes, and the last ones were restored about 2 hours later. So the last circuits were restored about a little before 11 p.m.
Now, who was that? Usually it's Ken Leon Guerrero.
Ken Leon Guerrero for
the last one to have his power put back on.
Oh,
just because he's such a complainer.
I wasn't really sure which circuit was on. Was the last one. My main concern is that we had everybody back online, and that's the focus of dispatchers and responders and generation personnel. We focus on getting it restored as quickly as possible. Then we go back and track down what happened, and that's why I said, as soon as I started getting the buzz from the operations group, I said, whatever caused it, I want pictures of whatever happened.
So we lost enough generation capacity. It was enough of a surge here that we lost an actual base load.
That's correct. MEC 9, and you had a couple of combustion turbine units that were online during that same period that also tripped following that line fault that they felt. It's one of those protection systems that we have, Ray. We can do that. We can isolate as much as we can, but 2-month sub is a pretty heavy loads power center, particularly at that time, just coming off a peak. You're going to feel all of that. Yeah. Everybody's out and about. So we have line crews that are 24 hours and they're responding dispatchers on duty, and you have 24-hour operations at the power plant. So everybody just switched to a different mode when something like this happens. Right.
And now there are fast tracks that are out there as well anymore.
That's correct, and they were able to come up within a couple of minutes, so we can start restoring circuits, as I mentioned, within about 20 minutes after everything is secured, and they made sure that the units can come back online and sync into the grid, and then get those base loads back up online.
There's a word I don't think I've ever seen before in our conversations about these kinds of outages, and I think somebody in engineering referred to the word ruptured.
That happened at the MEC number 9 unit. They had some damaged equipment, and they were able to although get online, but they also had to operate at a lower load so they can make some repairs. It's my understanding now that everything from MEC's units and their crews were able to make those repairs, and they're fully operational. I think within about the same time period.
Okay, now a buddy of mine is asking online this morning. He says, can we find the owner of the cat here to find out if there's a way that they can recompense the guy for the loss of his refrigerator here? This is one of those force majeure things, but it does bring up the idea that somebody needs to be held accountable. Is this something that I might be able to go back to you and make a claim on?
Go ahead and put the claim paperwork in. Just make sure you get the time, the date, the incident. Get all that information. Our customer service reps can walk you through what that process is going to be. But it looks like this is one of those feral cats that run wild out there. I'm not really sure whose cat it is or anything. And I think that
it looks like Mr. Bigglesworth from the Austin Powers movie. This thing got no hair.
No hair at all, right? It's just totally crisp and so forth. But once the pictures were taken, I said make sure and get everything verified, and let's log everything in.
It seems to me it's a first. I mean, we've had brown tree snakes that have been a problem for the transmission and distribution system for a long time, but I don't recall a cat getting fried in the process. Now, does that mean that there needs to be more work done? Don't ask me how it works, because cats are cats, and if a cat wants to go someplace, it's going to go someplace. So how do we prevent more cats from getting into some of these high-powered distribution centers?
Well, these areas are already lit. There's some high tension. There's a high visibility lights already there, and snake traps and so forth. Trying to get and a lot of it has to do with crews going in there and making sure that there's no food source, and they make sure that the area is cleaned and cleared of all of that, so you don't have any rodents going in, and the rodents are a food source for something else coming in. But cats are a different thing. It's just like the incident we had a while back, a couple of years in Anigua, when we had someone's roosters that were coming to the substation, and they were getting fried as soon as they came in contact with the same equipment that we had in 2 months subs, and that caused some problems as well. So even then, how do you prevent that from them flying over above the fence line and so forth?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's if you take a look at most power poles in the United States mainland, you get to the top of those utility poles, and you'll find that that the lines are staggered so that your primary and your secondary aren't within wingspan of say bald eagles. There's a particular reason why they're like that, so that big birds aren't standing on one leg and their feathers contacting another one.
Yeah, I talked to counterparts likewise in other utilities, and they're like, "Well, Art, we deal with woodpeckers, we deal with alligators, we deal with beavers, and so forth. We just have our own. We just have our own incidents here on Guam. But no, I just wanted to thank everybody for their patience while we were restoring the power. I know it was a major inconvenience during that evening, but all units are operational. They're online, and they're producing power to the grid right now.
Okay, so what time's the power going out today?
No power outage today, Ray. Everything we need to generate that revenue. We're not relying on any general fund source. Every bit of megawatt we put out there is what we have to generate for our own substance.
Well, good news last week was out of the CCU was that it doesn't look like we're going to have a LEAC increase in the next go round here. That still has to be blessed by the Public Utilities Commission. So there is some good news that's coming out of the Power Authority this week.
Sure, and that's something that the large customers like hotels and major businesses can look forward to as well, because they can better plan what their costs are going to be, and they can best manage the load on their side of the meter, and they can at least forecast what their costs will be, and hopefully that'll trickle down to like you and me, Ray.
Got my fingers crossed. Well, I'm also looking at the price of West Texas going down a little bit, and if it looks like it's going to continue to move in that direction, it could make for a conversation even about lowering the LEAC.
That and even at the pump, hopefully that'll translate to something else. I know the two are not related. We do our forecast. We purchase our fuel 90 days in advance, but going forward, we need to also work on keeping all our base loads online as much as we can, and make as much use of the solar farm that we have and other solar projects that we have coming online pretty soon.
I got you. Art, it's great hearing from you, man. Now I'm glad that you're back in the chair. Patty did an outstanding job, and got a couple of other sources inside the agency, and so it's nice to know that you guys will do your best to keep everybody up to speed. A different way of doing things these days. I did not go to the GPA website or the GPA Facebook page on Saturday night. Do you know if that was updated right away?
I know that one of the counterparts in customer services did that. I'm not really sure what their reach was, but just getting the updates is a little testy sometimes, Ray. Our dispatchers are focused on restoring quick power as quickly as they can, and once we get the update from them, it's posted as soon as possible.
Right. Well, like I said, I got my hands on an update, but I think my update to Facebook was even faster than GPA's update to Facebook. So something to work on, right?
Right, there you go.
Okay, buddy. Listen, I'll talk to you pretty soon. Like I said, great to hear from you again.
Thank you very much, Ray, for the time.
Shoot. Art Parrish and the Guam Power Authority, several areas they reported at 9:20 on Saturday night are experiencing unscheduled outages due to a fault that affected the generation and transmission system. Service will be restored as the power grid stabilized, which is the most. That's like weather guys saying partly cloudy skies, isolated showers, winds out of the east, 89 degrees and 79 degrees at night. That is as close as you're going to get to the generic here's what happened story with GPA.
That's right. Put the picture back up there real quick, because I want to point out that I think that this was probably a white cat when it hit that power thing.
Hard to say, huh?
Yeah.
Hard to say. Like I said,
crispy.
used up all 9 lives right there off the bat here. Doesn't look like it was a small cat. It's hard to make any kind of gauge on comparison because, it's not like there's a quarter something out there, but it doesn't look like it was a small kitten. It looked like it was a cat, and who knows, probably a cat that probably been through there 1,000 times before and never got close to anything that was going to hurt it. But I tell you what, that's one of those places. I don't even like to walk by the fence when I go to places like that because I can just hear the hum of very, very high voltage electricity that is flowing through those places and keeping things going. And a point that I want to say that, Phil was making when I talked to Phil Flores this morning, and Phil, God bless him, wants to stand up and say things aren't as bad as they were before. And that's, that's our curse. That's our curse. Phil, I've known Phil. Obviously, we're related, so I've known him all of my life, even as a teenager. And yeah, we've knocked back some of the harder times together. Load shedding, living on Guam. Him running and his grandfather running a bank in Agana, Guam Savings and Loan, with no electricity. But it was 1976. There was nothing to plug in back then anyway. It was a refrigerator and a fan. And maybe a television and a radio. It's not like we're talking about all kinds of automation. And my recollection is back then you didn't have ATM card and things like that. You went to the bank and you gave them a cash or you gave them a check, and they added it all up and they wrote it in your bank book.
That's right, in writing.
In handwriting. And
in
so
cursive.
So you could see what it was. Here's today's deposit. Here's the date. This is how much you put in. This is how much you got taken out. And so it was, it was a completely manual process back then. You could survive it. 2019, and as connected as we are with each other and the rest of the world, it will put you out. It will put you out when you don't have access to electricity. And how many of you tried to make the kids understand that even though their iPad was working, the phone could go on because you didn't have the internet? It wasn't going to work. The gizmo is down, and look, I don't care. Just Blue's Clues, man, make it work. How do we make this thing happen here, Mom? How many of you had to do a deal with that? So it's it ain't load shedding blues like it was before. It's not weeks and weeks and weeks worth of being without electricity and having to live like a caveman. But still in all, it is aggravating, kind of, what's the word there? It punctuates our lives when these things happen. And you will remember where you were on Saturday night when the lights went out. Of course, it's also possible that your lights didn't go out. That was, from where I was, there are 2 thoughts that crossed my head. One of them are the radio station's okay. So I WhatsApped to the guys, because where I was, I didn't have access to anything. Believe it or not, I was in a house that didn't have a radio in the house. It made me nuts. And I didn't feel like running to the car. So I checked on the WhatsApp. Everybody else had radio and told me the stations are fine, which told me a couple of things, which meant, number one, that the generator had kicked in here and at the transmitter site, if at all. And then I checked on my house, because I have all of this Internet of Things stuffs at the house. And alarm system and everything, I could check in, and everything was just fine, which indicated to me that the lights were on at the house as well. Hey, I gotta run, but not forever. I got news coming up from Fox News Live, and then Kevin Kerrigan with all the big stories. That's ahead right here in the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Still looking for the why. I'm Salchi Ingrasso, Fox News. Virginia Beach officials are purposely saying very little about the gunman who killed 12 people at a municipal building on Friday. Officials want to limit the attention given the shooter to discourage copycats. But they are investigating what led the 40-year-old engineer who worked in the city's utilities department to kill a dozen people, 11 of them city employees.
I'm not putting water on it. I'm trying to give the facts. We're looking as deep as we can into motives from work, personal motives, professional motives that could have happened.
Police Chief James Cervera, the suspect, died in a police shootout. Police investigating the disappearance of a Connecticut mother of 5 arrested her estranged husband and his girlfriend on charges of evidence tampering and hindering prosecution. Police in New Canaan said 51-year-old Fotis Doulos and 44-year-old Michelle Troconis both were taken into custody in Avon, Connecticut late yesterday, both held on $500,000 bail. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the Trump administration is willing to talk with Iran, but adds the U.S. will continue its campaign of pressure against the Islamic Republic.
We're prepared to engage in a conversation with no preconditions. We're ready to sit down with them. But the American effort to fundamentally reverse the malign activity of this Islamic Republic, this revolutionary force, is going to continue.
Pompeo was in Switzerland for talks with the Swiss foreign minister. Some top Italian officials want cruise ships to be banned from a busy canal in Venice after an out-of-control cruise ship rammed a dock and a river tourist boat. Videos of the crash show the MSC Opera cruise ship apparently unable to halt its momentum, blaring its horn as it plows into the boat and a dock. 5 people injured in that accident. I'm Sal Giangrasso, and this is Fox News.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
So what's the deal? Are you still paying for the right to have your checking account at your bank? Well, at Bank Pacific, we think it's our privilege, not our right. That's why we offer My Green Free Checking, where your monthly maintenance checking fees are zero. That's zero. And it comes with a free Visa check card and monthly green e-statements. My Green Free Checking. Bank Pacific today. Because having you as our customer, that's our privilege.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Another Democratic presidential hopeful takes questions at a Fox News town hall a short time from now.
New York Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand will face caucus goers in Dubuque, Iowa, in a town hall moderated by Fox News Sunday host Chris Wallace.
I think it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to reaching voters where they are and talking to them about their lives and their concerns and their hopes.
Gillibrand has spent much of her campaign trailing other candidates far behind frontrunners Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders.
As Fox's Jared Halpern, the town hall kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Fox News channel. President Trump's preparing for his 5-day trip to Europe, heading first to the United Kingdom for a 3-day state visit, before continuing on to Ireland, where he'll meet with the Prime Minister, and he will pay his respects at Normandy on the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And to honor the D-Day anniversary, Saving Private Ryan is coming back to theaters.
Steven Spielberg's 1998 hit Saving Private Ryan returns to theaters for a special screening to honor the 75th anniversary of D-Day, an invasion by Allied forces across the English Channel in 1944.
Private in the 101st lost 3 brothers, and he's got a ticket home.
The event, brought to the big screen by Fathom Events, will screen in 600 movie theaters. The popular film originally grossed $216 million domestically.
Someday we might look back on this and decide that Saving Private Ryan was the one decent thing we were able to pull out of this whole god-awful mess.
It screens today and Tuesday. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
The Pentagon told the White House to stop politicizing the military after a Trump administration order to have the Navy ship named for the late Senator John McCain, his father and grandfather, hidden from view during a presidential visit. Acting Defense Secretary Shanahan is reportedly considering steps to avoid similar future problems. I'm Sal Giangrasso, and this is Fox News.
2-for-1 dinner time is back at Ruby Tuesday Guam. That's 2 fresh garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a sweet dessert to share for just $25.99. 2-for-1 dinner time for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
Your home is one of the most important investments you'll make in your life. At Nanbo Insurance, you can rest easy knowing that you're covered with reliable and affordable homeowners insurance. Nanbo makes it easy to protect what matters the most so you can enjoy the moments that matter the most. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
Join Ray Gibson as he celebrates 40 years on the air.
Can you dig it?
40 years already? Hi, I'm doing the big broadcast from BMW's brand new showroom at Atkins Kroll, and I want you to join in on the fun.
Come on by and see us do the show live and in person. And since it's a party, we've got all kinds of super goodies to give away. United Airlines is letting me give away 2 tickets to Japan. And your next trip to the Philippines, we've got your hotel accommodations covered with goodies from Resort World Manila.
Mabuhay!
It's been a great ride, and this is a great excuse to get caught up with some of our favorite guests and friends of the show.
Ray! Good morning, Ray.
I always want to tell the truth. When I can, I tell the truth. I do try. Yo, Ray.
Tune in Friday, June 7th, or check out the Points Facebook live feed, provided and produced by Shooting Star Productions.
Ray Gibson's 40th anniversary show is brought to you by AK BMW and Shooting Star Productions, with special thanks to United Airlines, Resorts World Manila, Nanbo's Insurance, and GPSI.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Monday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A bill that would correct the World War II Loyalty Recognition Act and allow for the release of reparation awards to Guam's Manamco has taken a step forward in the U.S. House of Representatives. Guam Delegate Michael San Nicolas announcing yesterday that H.R. 1365 has been scheduled for a markup hearing in the Natural Resources Committee. The hearing is set for June 19th. A markup hearing is a full committee hearing during which the merits of the legislation are discussed and a vote is taken on whether to report the bill out to the floor for a vote by the full House. In a statement yesterday announcing the markup, San Nicolas said, "We are moving the war claims legislation forward as quickly as we can, using all available networks, because we fully understand the urgency in our community to address this issue." No checks have been issued because former Guam delegate Madeline Bodallo neglected to include a provision to authorize the U.S. Treasury Department to make the payments in the bill that she originally introduced. H.R. 1365 corrects that deficiency and allows the Treasury Department to issue checks to the survivors who have already won compensation awards. The Bank of Guam has begun circulating a marijuana certification form requiring all current and new customers to declare that they are not directly engaged in a marijuana-related business which in any manner is involved with the handling of marijuana or marijuana-related products. Customers are required to inform the bank if they do become associated with a marijuana-related business, and the bank reserves its right to immediately terminate any or all accounts with any customer who becomes involved with the cannabis industry. Bank of Guam Senior Vice President and Communications Officer Jackie Morati was not available for comment on Friday, but when shown a copy of the form, Bank Pacific President Phil Flores said Bank Pacific will soon be issuing a similar form, and he expects all other island banks will as well if they haven't already. Plain and simple, Flores said, Bank Pacific will not have any banking association with any person or business involved in the marijuana business until or unless the federal laws change. Senator Clint Rigel, the author of the Cannabis Industry Act of 2019, said it's an issue for the banking system nationwide, and there is now a bill in Congress to address that problem. The Safe Banking Act, he said, would allow banks to accept funds generated by the marijuana industry. It was recently approved by the House Financial Services Committee. We'll have more news after this.
When your family needs medical care, how often do you find the need to visit multiple clinics? When a child has a serious ailment, do you find yourself meeting a medical provider only to learn you must go somewhere else for testing? At the FHP Health Center, you can find multiple specialties and testing services under one roof. And if your family needs urgent care, FHP is there for you with convenient weekday, evening, and weekend hours. Voted the island's best clinic and Pika's best 2 years in a row. FHP, our island, your clinic. Learn more at FHPGuam.com.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The Consolidated Commission on Utilities adopted a policy on performance evaluations for power and water executives in March of last year, but The commissioners have not been following their policy. The policy calls for the CCU to conduct performance evaluations on the Guam Power Authority and Guam Waterworks Authority general managers, chief financial officers, and general counsel at least once a year. All commissioners are to take part in the evaluation, and the CCU may adopt any format to document the evaluation, but the evaluations have never been done annually. CCU Chairman Joey Duenas acknowledging that the evaluations have not been done consistently, he said, "We need to be better at it." The commission has not been following its own policy on documentation either. Duenas said it's one of those administrative things we say we want to do, but most of the time we're so busy doing so many other things that we just don't get around to it. 20-year-old Daisang de Leon Guerrero is facing multiple felony allegations in connection with a series of burglaries and other crimes, including stealing from a store, breaking into a home, and stealing cars. According to the magistrate report, de Leon Guerrero left fingerprints at various locations. The string of burglaries, a stolen car from a Tamuning resident in October is included in that string. Another vehicle was stolen in November from another Tamuning resident, and a third car was stolen April 13th from a Dededo resident, followed by a burglary of the Gangnam Market in Tamuning on April 22nd. De Leon Guerrero has been charged with 3 counts of burglary, 4 counts of theft by receiving, and 4 counts of criminal trespass. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
All right, I'm going to try to dress this up because it's a fairly generic summertime weather forecast for Guam. So here's what we got for you, friends. Partly cloudy skies today with some isolated showers. Easterly winds, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Daytime highs near 89 degrees and overnight lows of 79 degrees. Nope, impossible to sexy that up. Sunrise this morning was at 5:52. Sunset tonight, hunt for the green flash at 6:45 or so. And that's when it ought to be heading underneath the plane. Now, we'll take a look at the weather radar, and maybe this is the way that we sexy it up. So maybe you're going to be one of those people that wants to see the green flash. Are we going to have enough clouds out on the horizon for to cover that up?
It's looking like it will, and the reason I say that is because of the way this particular trough seems to be moving. The showers are moving from east to west, but from what I can see on the satellite, and we'll see that in just a moment, it looks like the trough itself may be inching towards us. So that may mean a heightened chance for rain later this afternoon. And all of this, from what I can see, it's caused by an upper level low pressure area.
That's the southwest?
That's that spin to the southwest. Now that's up at the upper levels. That's 40,000 feet or so. So it has really no effect on the ground. Although if you were under that cluster of clouds, there would be a lot of thunderstorms under there, because as you get that instability way up there, it causes the clouds to lift higher, and that's when you get all the thunder and lightning and things. For us, it looks like the trough that's attached to it off to the southeast is kind of tracking up towards us, or at least some of those clouds are. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of rain, but it looks like the south side may see some even later on this morning as it is. Weather Service says we're undergoing a bit of a transition right now from the spring dry heat to more of a summer wet heat type situation as the ITCZ, that's all that blobbage down to the south, creeps very slowly to the north. And of course, that's the typical kind of thing that takes place this time of year.
And that's going to be the forecast for today. Watch out, it's going to be hot. Might be a little bit of rain, not a whole lot by way of anything. But I got to say, I was just delighted with the grill marks weather that we had. Certainly on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday was great for grill marks. I tell you, this is how good it was for Saturday. I stayed at the beach even after I ran out of beer.
Wow.
It was that good. Wow. Yeah, it was a big cooler, right? But it was it was nice out there, and there was a lot of people coming by and hanging out. So it was one of those things where I went and figured, okay, I might be here hour and a half or something like that. Easily 2.5 hours out there, just watching things. And near as I can tell, did not get the same kind of sunburn. I'd love to put. I don't know her though, but I'd love to put the picture. There was this lady walking by, and I thought maybe a tourist. But when I started talking to her, it occurred to me that she spoke pretty good English. And the reason why I was talking to her was because she was this color red. For those of you watching on the Facebook, she was this color red as she was walking up and down the beach. And I said, you need to put some sunscreen on because you're going to get a really painful sunburn. And she says, I know, I already put it on. And I'm going, you need to put some more on, or I don't know, a coat, because otherwise, this time tomorrow you're going to be in some severe pain. Anyway, news, and maybe there's going to be some of that. We'll see what happens with that trough of the weather that's coming through here, but also possible that if it doesn't make any big deal, then this first weekend, the first full weekend of June, could be one of those. Wait a second. This last one was the first full weekend, right? Saturday.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Saturday's the first.
So it'll be the second full weekend. But
might
yeah,
be grill marks.
we very likely will see more showers this weekend. Although the forecast is trending a little drier than it was a couple of days ago. Still, we're in that transition time.
I got you. 8:16. That's news and weather together. Sports with Blake coming up.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Got to do shouts to Cutwall Sing out there. Agnes Flamenco is watching us on Facebook Live. Good morning, pretty. Marvin Iseki, Dave Duenas is there. Linda Gabriel, Angel Camacho Paulino. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Frank Cruz. And there's Phil Schrage and Eddie Cruz. Eddie, question for you, Eddie, because you've got a hard fill. I need to know what it's going to take. I was doing some demo work in the backyard over the weekend, and we'll probably have, I don't know, let's call it a couple 100 pounds of old concrete, cinder block and fillings and things like that I need to get rid of. Normally I'd pitch it over to the neighbor's house, but there are people that live there, so I unfortunately can't do that. So I'd like to know what it would take for me to get my rubble into your hard fill, or into an hard fill. Portions of the program brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy can now attach batteries to your solar system. How many of you on MRE didn't even know the power went out on Saturday night? Just, really? I had no idea, because I got a battery in the house. Everything was working just fine. So if you'd like to become those people, 632-2613 is the telephone number. Also brought to you by King's Restaurant, where they've got that crazy 19 menu. It was originally the crazy holiday menu, and that was back in Christmas time. Feels like a long time ago, because it was. And they said, no, we're just going to keep this all the way through the year. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, appetizers, desserts, all available for you at King's Restaurant. Always open, always local.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles, or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Yes, and portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title. See Ron and Kim for your complex real estate transactions. Take care and ask them about different ways that they're going to change your life, up to and including new places that you can go for your Take Care pharmaceutical needs. And Cars Plus, up and mighty, they are absolutely driven by you. Performance days going on. The Challenger GT, part of their unmistakable muscle category. And then you've got the Charger SXT Plus, a descendant of domination. Anybody remembers the old school Chargers going to look fondly at the new ones. So check it out. But they've made additions. You know, I know some of you are going, dude, I'll just go back in time and I'll get a Charger from a long time ago and bring that to the now. You know what? This make cars a lot more efficient than they did back in the day. This one here, you're going to love it. Leather upholstery, blind spot detection, which they didn't have back in the old days. Rear view camera with the guidelines that change, that know where the edge of the parking space is supposed to be. This one will help you park it in Dusitani, right? They're that good. And it's got an 8.4-inch touchscreen display. You think about those original Mustangs came out back in the day, and they had, 8-watt sound system on them? You get into these cars here today, they wrap you in sound. Take it for a test drive at Cars Plus.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Morning talk that matters.
Chris Chip just tuning in saying, what's the controversy this morning? I don't know, not too far off from what the controversy was, the things that made us wring our hands last week. I'll prep you up here in just a second. We got to blaze through some sports, though. Crescinda Calvo-Uggan is online. Ed and Karen Untalan from First Hawaiian Bank. Rita Marie and James Howard. James Howard says, the controversy today is aliens. Have you seen aliens? Do you believe, Blake?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of universe out there.
Yeah, the fact is it's mathematically impossible for there not to be other intelligent life in the universe.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be a horrible waste of space, wouldn't it?
Really?
Yep.
That's you know what, it got to be aliens, because that's in some cases the only way that we can explain some of the inner workings of the government of Guam.
Oh yeah, we're
I know
investigating.
it's low-hanging fruit, but I had to take it. I had to take it just the same, because it's just to me it is just kind of interesting that that we. Oh, that reminds me. No, you gotta remind me to check that link again that Janella sent me.
Oh, okay.
So I can, because the governor's got a radio address that is out there, and I got the link from Janella, but every time I tried to go to it, it told me that the video was unavailable.
Well, maybe she put the video up there and then changed her mind. You know, girls will change their minds.
No, impossible.
Just saying.
My friend Laura can't work right now because she's busy engaged with me in a blazing Facebook chat. But let me see if I can get to the very important stuff at 8:22 each time. For Sports with Blake. All right, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say who it's from, but it's funny to me. It's funny to me because I said on Friday that this was going to be an issue. With all of the talk taking place over the meeting with the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, you'll recall, I had said, you know what, if I was an employee, if I was just a rank and file member of the family over at GPA and GWA, saying, you know what, I think it's time that I got a raise. And they said, well, we have to do an evaluation for you. You have to get evaluated. Then you say, bull roar. The CCU is a policy that says that managers, et cetera, at GPA and GWA are supposed to have a written evaluation, but they violated that. So, quote, there's precedent for you to just give me a raise based on whatever number we agree on. What am I making? $35,000. Do I hear $40,000? $40,000 over there. $40,000. I'm going once. Going twice. $45,000. I got $45,000 here. Look at the $45,000. $46,000. Do I hear $46,000? You do it much better than I do.
Is that your auctioneer?
Yeah, I'm trying. You know where I picked up a little bit of it. I've been watching this. Okay, guys, we might get around to doing sports. We may not. All right. So a couple of things. So they had. I was talking about this earlier. Deadwood, the movie. Mm-hmm. If you were a fan of the TV show, yes. When it played on HBO back in the day, you got to watch it.
Yep.
Yes, it is the finale that we were looking for.
I'm not caught up through the third. Remember, I said I was going to have to go back and rewatch it. So I've tried to finish the third season this weekend, and I will be done hopefully by tomorrow morning so that we can talk about it. But either way,
it picks up. It picks up from the third season, but it's 10 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were happy with it?
Oh,
did you see any cameos that you recognized? Because I heard some there's just all cameos galore.
You know what? I was mostly concentrating on the main characters, and I'm not sure, because the version of people that are famous now that I recognize is way different than the version of the famous people from Rihanna could have been in the show and I would have known. Cardi B could have been doing a cameo. I would have known. It's like that. But I will admit to weeping at the end of it. I got misty.
Really?
Yes.
So is it finite end? Is it end? Is it over?
Yeah,
it's got to be over, right?
It's over. All of the loose ends are tied up, and they were. I'm not going to say they were happy tears, but I just was one of the. They were appropriate to the message. Yeah, it was nice.
Better than Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones needs to redo. They need to have a movie. They need to come out with a movie end.
Finish it.
Yeah, and just finish it, and it'll be like Godfather 3. Just 1 and 2 were great. Godfather 3, we'll just forget that ever happened and do another one. It's like when you remember Ghostbusters. They came out with the Ghostbusters with the women that nobody liked, and then they came out with a new Ghostbusters.
They're coming out with another one,
which is like with like the original cast. So never mind that thing with the girls. We're going to do this here for the guys. Anyway, yes, Michael. Yes,
I was just going to say you mentioned Rihanna. That is actually how you pronounce her name.
I was
We
gonna
all
say-
got schooled about that this weekend. Evidently, after, 8 years on the scene, she finally decided, although she has in the past actually gone on and told us how
I
to
tweeted
pronounce her
that.
name properly. I don't tweet, man. So
No, I'm just saying. No, I saw that earlier too. I was gonna mention the same thing. It's British Vogue tweeted out a video of her saying, "Hey, it's Rihanna, Paris Fashion Week." So yeah, we all got schooled.
Of course,
But no one's gonna listen.
Yeah, and of course everybody could just figured it was Rihanna. You know, she's an exotic lady from the Bahamas.
Yeah,
and all
well,
that kind of thing.
I don't know. You remember when it was John Cougar, and then he changed it to John Cougar Mellencamp, and then he just said it was John Mellencamp because I don't want to be a star. I was like, shut up.
But now it's John Cougar Mellencamp, right?
Yeah, well, it was John Cougar in the beginning, the first, I Need a Lover.
Jack and Diane years. I mean, that his first album was John Cougar.
You know what I hated when people started doing that? You remember they did that acoustic trip for a while in what was it, the early 90s? I hated that.
I like that.
I don't know. It didn't work for me. Didn't work for me. All right. Do you want to? Is there is? Yes, there's sport. Yes, I was going to get to Frank the Crank and his domination. Frank the Crank domination in Sweden. They know Guam and Saipan now.
Yeah.
Frank the Crank is going to be our Manny Pacquiao.
If you don't know, 22-7, Frank the Crank came in against Nick Sargent Hine, who was 14-5-1. The fight took place at the Ericsson Globe Arena in Stockholm, Sweden.